Hello. Look at those dramatic clouds. Let's look up too. But what I actually want to show and talk about today is the fact that on Tuesday, it is now Saturday, on Tuesday we had snow again. And so what I wanted to do was show, because I just did a video last Saturday, I wanted to show how the garden and a lot of the flowers react when they get snowed on. And it really depends on the type of flower. So daffodils and a lot of the Dutch varieties of flowers stay longer the colder the spring is. Daffodils advance through their stages of going ripe and overripe and getting their little seed heads, or coming out of the ground on the days that it's warming up. And so the days that it's warm are actually what rot the flowers, and the days that it's cold. Now there was a bit of hail, so it knocked some of them down. Same day that it snowed, there was also a tiny bit of hail. But it didn't make them go wilty. But we'll see some flowers that did go wilty as we go through the garden here. So these ones have been wilty because they were very early bloomers. And my earliest blooming flowers are, what they call spent. Like that. Because they need it to stay cold to stay in open blooming form. I was worried about my rhubarb, but look at it. It's fine. I'm silly. My compost pile from the wintertime is icky looking, but yeah, don't mind it. It's okay. So we're gonna go on over here. You can see that there are hyacinth here. One of them's a little bit more spent than the other one. And you can even see those, here's another hyacinth, sorry. Those butterfly daffodils that we talked about last video. This one got probably broken by the hail, but they are doing great. Also, the greenery is doing just fine. This is still the quince. And the snow didn't slow down the silky dogwood. Formidable Flora literally just told me in the comments, and literally already I cannot remember. This is mock orange, but as of right now it's just leafing, not anything else. Weeds are getting really tall. I did get around to do a lot of weeding. I have a lot more weeds this year because of the broken ankle during the summer last year. I wasn't able to do a lot of my preventative weeding yesterday, so I got last year. What the heck was that? So I have a lot more weeds around to deal with, and it's going to probably take a while to catch back up to the point where I was, while meaning years. Here's one that I really, really wanted to show. Right? So we got a lot of greenery. We still got pretty much all the daffodils that were there last week, because this week was more cold, so they didn't rot off the way that they did the week before, where it was in the 70s. They stayed fresher longer. In here we got the leafing coming out, so that doesn't mind. But then I want to go up and look. See, this one I was actually quite surprised. Let's see if we can get the angle where the lighting's halfway decent. That'll work. Maybe? I don't know. There's no such thing as the lighting being halfway decent. They're a little singed on the edges, but my self-seeded purple leaf plum that popped up over there about, I don't even know how many years ago, but I moved it here. And it had like a peach pit looking little pit. Really, really pretty tree. Might actually do fruit since it did fruit in order to get here. Depending on how far it traveled, because a lot of times when it's a plum, it travels in like a goose gut to get where it goes. So that one is promising, because even though it snowed, it's still flowering. I have buds on the apple, so let's go over there and look. They are, oh heavens, I'm sinking down. They are right like this, see? So those didn't get hit because they came out a little later, because it needs more what's called chilling hours. You need to have really high chilling hours for them to not bloom too early in Pittsburgh, though, because it's pretty long and recurrent winter. If a tree requires chilling hours, it's pretty useful. I like these ones. They got the weird little rim on them, and those are getting a little aged. This is a cherry tree. Here, let's go from the side, actually. So the backlighting is weird. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, see? So that's a cherry tree. It does have peach borers. So, it may or may not fruit from this, but it won't be because of the frost. The flowers were there before the snow, and they are here still after the snow. So that snow that came on Tuesday didn't impact the blooming or the fruit potential of that at all. However, this one over here doesn't require as many chilling hours, and so each frosty night is, I've only had this thing fruit once, so we'll see. There's still flower bases, but the flowers are kind of scorched off, so only some of them are still flowers after all that, and it's not super promising. Should be seeing flowers, maybe even fruit on this soon. This is the Haskap. Oh, and these are buds as well of the Saskatoon, or you might call it Juneberry or Serviceberry, depending on whatever the case may be. I don't know. Depending on things. Over here we've got one of these funky dunky green flowering things. My Red Lake Currant does green flowers. But those flowers are, let's see, can we get it to focus? They are open. And they're doing well. I don't see any flowers on this apple yet, but this is every other year, and I don't remember. Oh, wait, no, I do see flower buds. Here and there. Great. And here. Great. And then here is the, oh, what is this again? Yostaberry. Looks like it's going to flower. I see buds on that. The leaf bases are chonky. I took the rocks off the side shooting branches at the bottom, and it doesn't seem to be spreading anymore. I dug up the add-ons that I put in. There's a sheep burying that overdone bit of fencing, but it is still a child, so it hasn't flowered. Oh yeah, I had ramps come up on the other side too, which was good to see. I have what seems to be very bad news on the water tank front. They don't necessarily seem to be holding water. I think I got overly brave about leaving them frozen and really messed up. And that also is gonna require me to probably leave the drains open so that whenever it does storm, I'm not just draining water right next to my house. But yeah, that is not good. Bad news there. All of my different strawberries are doing well. I haven't seen any new growth on the asparagus or hopness, which is what's growing last year's growth on the trellises there. But I do still need to get in here and remove all of this last year's growth stuff. This is one of my major weeds here. Bittercress. It's one of the ones that really introduced itself hard while I had my broken ankle, so it's just the other one that seems to be just giving me fits is cleavers, which, you know, they have their uses, yes. However, oh, we can't go through here. Not without fighting the darn thing. Cleavers have their uses for sure. However, if you've ever walked through a mature cleavers patch, they stick to you real bad. Whoop, the seeds do mostly. Sorry, that was a little rough of a viewing there as I tripped a little tiny bit. So yeah, they're real scratchy, and then the seeds are like little balls of Velcro, and you know, they don't hurt, but they mess up your laundry. So my plan here is to fill up a lot of this section with weeds and then put boxes over it as things get filled, so that they don't seed, and so that it brings... In fact, I might move these down. I'll show you why. There's a section here where, I don't know, do you remember how deep this section is dug down? That is a good 3 feet, and I was able to lay down in it here. So I'm probably going to have to do that. My battery just went real low, so we're going to say thanks so much for visiting. I hope you found the flower situation interesting after all that snow. We still got tons of flowers. So I hope you enjoyed the little tour. Isn't this an allegory of the times? Yeah, take care. Thanks so much for visiting Cliffside. Bye!